In this case, I've got the blue one. This is the Ultra Sabers. I put a link below if you're interested in getting your own lightsaber. Check that out. You can find a lot of good options now. But you're gonna have to have a basic saber. You don't have to have a lightsaber either. Saber just means sword, right? You can have a stick, a long stick, about this length to get started with. Don't wait to start training it. This is your passion. This is something you want to explore. Invest first your time, your energy, then invest your money. So you don't have to have the sword right away. Start with a stick or start with a traditional Japanese sword because it's going to be very similar. It's going to have a lot of the same moves. Start with the saber in your right hand. Your hand's going to be toward the top of the hilt. And I want you to warm up with this basic orbital spin. Now this orbital spin is going to be used to do your Obi-Ani, which is one of the plum blossom. I think that's what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. It comes from not a Japanese, but a Chinese spinning with the Dao or the Chinese sword. But we're going to use this spin. Hello, it's good to see you again. Made famous Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. And this spin is very popular. It's one of the ones that you asked me for the most. We haven't done this for a long time. It's good to see you. But start with this basic orbital spin. And we call it an orbital because it's going around the outside of the back of your body, or you're going to bring it to the inside, to the front. So in this lightsaber how-to training video, you're going to start with this basic orbital. I'm going to get it up close so you can see it. Your hand is closed. You're not going to do this. That's a good way to lose any kind of weapon, and it's cheating, right? You want flexibility in your wrist, strength in your hands. Keep your hand closed on your saber. You're going to drop forward, and then it's going to come to the outside of your body. See that my hand is still closed. I'm not open. My finger's open a little bit. It's not super, super tight. You can keep it closed, but just don't take your fingers off of it. Drop it behind your back. The tips then are going to come back to the front. So it goes toward the floor, comes around, and it comes back. Thank you. This is one of my favorite things to train. I don't do these videos often, although I do have maybe about 50 lightsaber, both single lightsaber and the double-bladed lightsaber. I've got them charging. I'm going to do that over the holiday break. I usually make these videos over the holiday because I get them out to train my kids. Every once in a while, I'll do a lightsaber training academy, and I'll teach you how to learn how to use the lightsaber. It's basically the same thing I've been teaching for years with the wooden sword or the metal sword. It's the same move. Now, this warm-up move, I'm going to change from hand to hand just because it'll burn your wrists out. And you want to be ambidextrous when you fight with any weapon, especially if you're getting into dueling with stunt sabers. Dueling with stunt sabers, this one is made for impact. That means I can fight against somebody else and I can hit theirs, single saber, or double-bladed lightsaber, even a light staff. And so you can fight this one against another one. And whether it's for cosplay, if you're into the cosplay with the Star Wars, or you just want to learn how to do it because it's fun and it's a great workout. It's going to get you stronger and faster, and then you can learn how to use the traditional swords the same way you would your lightsaber. Either way, if it's your interest, your passion, do it. Don't let anybody else talk you out of it. Doesn't matter what they think. So again, going forward, this is my right hand, coming to the outside and around. Now, reverse it. Now you know two spins. You know the forward orbital and now the reverse orbital. And you're going to use the spins. If you think about what a forward orbital is, it's a striking motion, right? You're fighting, striking, dueling. They're all coming down, coming through, coming around. They're all forward, striking, attacking a motion. And then, we're going to do that later today. The reverse is a blocking or deflecting motion. Anytime you're pulling it through, that's more of a deflection block. You can still slice somebody with it if this were real, right? Obviously. Or if this were a metal sword, that's still a valid strike, pulling it up this way. And when we do the figure eight, which we're going to do in about 2 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, you need this motion. So learning how to do forward, they don't care. They won't even ask. They might ask you, something else. Where are you coming from tonight? If you're swerving all over the road, that's the least thing you're gonna have to worry about. When I turn it off, you'll see it's just plastic, but it's high impact resistant plastic. This is made out of aircraft aluminum. And actually, this one's pretty sharp. You'll see it's gonna start cutting me up here in a second. But this is the Ultra Sabers. The one that I put in the link below is the one that I have charging right now. I like that one a little bit better. I like this better for dueling. This thing will take a beating. Good morning. But the other one is better for spinning. Although this is good. This will be a good workout for you. You're gonna drop it and pull it around. Then reverse it and pull it back. Now, I want you to do this 30 seconds per spin, 30 seconds with a forward spin, and see how it's coming behind my back. If I were to turn to the side, you can see it's just dropping back there, 30 seconds, and then reverse it, 30 seconds. And the reason I want you to warm up behind your back is because I want you to learn this Obi-Ani spin as fast as you can, because that's the one everybody asks me for. I'm gonna give you a little bit better perspective by moving the camera a little bit. So the Obi-Ani goes down behind the back. And in this workout, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So if that's of any interest to you, don't worry, we're gonna get it. But then go 30 seconds. This is your warm-up spin. Again, hand is closed. This is cheating. Don't do that. That might be faster at first, but as soon as you run into something, and I want you to learn how to fight with it, how to duel with it. And as soon as you run into another sword or a staff or a double-bladed lightsaber, maybe you're fighting Darth Maul, then it's gonna come flying out of your hand. So keep your hand closed and learn how to forward spin. 30 seconds, simply reverse it. Then, after 30 seconds of the orbital spins, you're gonna go into your figure eight motion. Your figure eight, it's a sideways figure eight, like an eight, turn on its side, snowman, it's cold right now for a lot of places. Or think of an infinity sign, which is the other name for it. The infinity spin is also called an endless spin. Oh, you're welcome, John. I saw your message on Facebook. I didn't see one in the email. You sent me one in the email. Send it again, please. Down and back. I looked for it. I hadn't been able to find it yet. And it's probably me. I probably haven't found it, or I put it in the wrong folder or something. But John, please send that again. Appreciate that. Pasquinelli@hotmail.com. You can all reach out. I always appreciate you guys asking questions, leaving comments, making requests. And especially, I really appreciate when you like and subscribe. Now, what I'm doing is I'm turning this sideways. I'm carving a sideways figure eight with my thumb. That's just this outer orbital, and it's an inner orbital. So if you think about what it is, if you want to break it down even further, do the orbital behind your ear, right hand on the right side, and then bring it inside, still forward. This would be reverse, and we're going to do both. We're going to do a forward figure eight. We're going to do a reverse figure eight. No worries, John. I'm still learning myself. So out here, and then in here. So then you're going to go outside to inside, outside, inside. Another way to think of this is one of my favorite ways, is a slap across the face, coming right, because you come through, and then a backhand coming the other way. So it's that forward and back. 1, 2. I always like to keep this hand up. Learn to fight with your hand in the guarded position. Not only is it more correct and better for them not knocking you out, but this just looks lazy and silly when your hand's just dangling. For those of you Marines, I know we got a couple of them on this one. Don't let your arm dangle in the dirt. If you remember the Marine Corps, it's a little bit different saying, but you get my drift, right? Don't let your arm just hang down there and be in the way. Get it up, get in a better position. Learn to fight from behind your lightsaber. Then go into your reverse spin. You FMA guys, there you saw my hand come over there. You saw where that is, right? Some habits are hard to break, but just pull up, and now think of carving that figure eight in the reverse, pulling, using your pinky finger, your small finger, instead of pushing with your thumb. Think of pulling with the small side of your hand. Think of smacking them across the bottom to the top and back fist from the bottom to the top. And that's what this is, that reverse figure eight. Now, I want you to always do it in both hands. I want you to be ambidextrous when it comes to every weapon that you learn how to fight with. The only time that's going to be not true is the Japanese katana, or if you're working with the bokken, the Japanese sword. You're always going to have the left hand on the bottom, the right, you're going to fight this way, right? But if we're talking Star Wars, we're talking movie, sometime the camera's going to be over here, right? And sometimes you're going to change hands. Maybe you're going to throw it. Let me see. Haven't done that in a while. There we go. You're going to throw it. You're going to change into the Ahsoka Tano. In that reverse fighting. Change back. Mace Windu. And then, yeah, and that's why I do it. It's fun. And I love having something like this. Now, some people, traditionalists, will be like, that's not a real martial arts weapon. What are you doing? I can't get kids, teenagers especially, tweens, 12, 13, 14, I can't get them to come in and do an hour of forehead strikes with the katana or with the shinai, right? The kendo. We can't do that, or we can't practice. By the way, if that were a real lightsaber, I just lost my hand, right? I'd have to turn it off first. I can't practice the yaido, the draw, they're not going to do that. And some of you, if you've been around for a long time and you were in the martial arts years and years ago, you remember that first class of martial arts where all you did was a reverse punch or lift your knee and kick, or if it were a weapon, just working on one strike for like 2-3 months, right? Now I can get them in and say, look, I'm going to teach you the basics of sword fighting. You're not going to be an ancient samurai. Hello, it's good to see you. But you're going to get your palate. You're going to get that taste. You're going to get an excitement for it. And then later, I can get you to 10,000, 50,000 repetitions of the same strike. And you'll get there one way or the other. Maybe we'll just get you there with the lightsaber. That's why I picked this up. I love this thing because I watch those Star Wars movies knowing that they're all based on the Akira Kurosawa movies. Thank you, right? Seven Samurai and Ron and The Fortress. Star Wars is based on a movie called The Fortress. Those guys, those of you who know that, right? Yeah, you do. And there's a lot of crossover of Kali. There's a lot of crossover of the Tai Chi sword, of the Dao. There's a lot of crossover into traditional sword. So if you watch a movie, a Star Wars movie, you'll see all these cool spins and they're jumping and spinning and turning and spinning. It's really fun. But then they'll come into and they're fighting, and those are real traditional. And some of it comes from fencing, and some of it comes from Japanese sword fighting. And it's all inspired by the old Japanese samurai movies. Yeah, exactly, right? And they're all in all those old movies. And if you grew up like I did watching Yojimbo, which is the bodyguard, right? And he's got the sword. That guy, he's like the John Wayne of Toshiro Mifune, I think. And then you had Zatoichi, the blind swordsman. And they're doing all these amazing things with the sword. And you know the history of Star Wars comes from all that. Then you're like, oh, I can teach what I know about traditional Japanese, Korean, Chinese sword, and inspire people. And exactly, right? All right, so back to what we're doing. We're doing figure eight, left hand now, forward for 30 seconds. This is a tutorial, but it's also a training video. This is how I break up or set up my training to get better faster. I want you to get better faster So what we do is we intensify a small bite, and that's 30 seconds of an orbital spin to the front, and then 30 seconds reversing, and then 30 seconds forward figure eight, non-stop, and then 30 seconds reversing. And I know if you do that, you're gonna get there so much faster. You're gonna get really, really strong. Yeah, exactly. Now, the next one. You're gonna take the sword and you're gonna do another figure eight, but you're gonna do it to the front and the back of your body. I was like this in that first one, and I reversed it, but I want you to learn how to fight in every plane. Fighting over your head, fighting behind your back. I want you to fight to the front of your body, fighting low, fighting high, because when you get into dueling and you're out there and you're doing cosplay or you want to make your own fan film. Have you seen some of these fan films on Star Wars? Some of them are like really, really good. And they have amazing sword play. And I want you to be able to do that if you're interested. So put the hand to the side and do that orbital to the front of your body, and then go to the orbital behind your body. Put them together, you've got your figure eight. And now instead of from here, I have a new plane. This one here, you can really speed that up. Slow it down a little bit so you can see that my hand stays closed. I want your hand to stay closed. But then as soon as you get it, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And then if you bend your elbow, you turn your shoulders a little bit, you can really increase the speed. I always buy my lightsabers without the sound, and if there's a sound in it, I always take it out. And that's because it kills the battery too fast for my liking, and it interrupts when I'm trying to teach. So, but usually if you buy these, he'll be making all kinds of cool sounds. Put in the other hand, forward spin a couple times, reverse spin a couple times, and then front and back. Hank, good to see you. I missed what you're sorry for. Although if I saw it, I probably would say no biggie, right? Who cares? We say sorry too much. Save it for the big stuff. Oh, got it. So go front and back, hello. To the front, to the back. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Think about leading with a, and then reverse it. Reverse figure eight. I don't know if I reversed it over there, but if I didn't, make sure you do. Going to the front and the back. And before we go into the Obi-Ani, thank you. Oh, got it. So, yeah, I suppose in some way. No, I understand. But you know what? We can't control other people. All we can do is stay positive and train for ourselves, right? I always rip this thing out, like I said, around the holidays. And especially right now, shutdowns got a lot of people stuck in the home, looking for something to do, and they need something to be inspired by and motivated by to get started. Now, I think motivation should be like this. Discipline, daily discipline, that's the thing. Once you get the motivation, a little bit of a taste in your mouth, then you need the discipline to keep going. So I use this every once in a while, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of excitement. It's different, it's new. It's got a nice weight. It's going to build some serious muscle. And then when you go back to your traditional Japanese, Okinawan, whatever weapons, then you're going to hit so much faster. But it's just a way to break up the monotony, right? I always look at it as cross-training. Now, before we get into the Obi-Ani spin, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, it's Obi-Ani. I always say Ani. Obi-Ani, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin. I'll call it the Mace Windu, just because lately I've been thinking about that Mace Windu character, and I kind of like, his grizzled, he doesn't he's not the fancy, all of the British accent, no offense if you're British and you have an accent, but just for me, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and who was the other dude that's like before him? Ewan McGregor guy. Anyway, nothing. I like to smash that guy with my sword guy. That's how I am. I'm not a precision. I am. Precision is important, but maybe you get my drift. I like the Seven Samurai, right? The rough guy, the Shiro Mifune character he always plays, like Yojimbo. He's not polished. He was, but now he's just got to get it done. And I like just get it done. I'm not into the whole, holier than thou and super pious and stuff. But if that's your thing, that's it. Qui-Gon Jinn. If that's your guy, cool. Don't let me push you off of him. That's just my own opinion. And why, I really shouldn't have a strong of an opinion. But I do. I'm attracted to the Ahsoka Tano because she fights like this and she doesn't mess around. She gets the two swords. And then I'm attracted to that Mace Windu because he just gets it done. He just gets it done. You know what I mean? All right. Let me get this real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I had a delivery at the door. What I want you to do now is practice the basic strikes, then we're going to get back to the Obi-Ani. So, oh, good. That's really cool. Welcome to you and your niece. Now, from here, I want you to think of this kind of like ringing out, right? This comes from the Japanese, the traditional, ringing out your sword. And what that does is your hilt. It gets your arms in line, right? And I want you to get in line. Perfect, Hank. Yeah, I bet they nice and heavy too. And that gets your wrists in line. If you're not, see how my hands are here? That means you cut my hand off. That's a Star Wars theme. Every single one of those guys seem to get their hands cut off, and then some of them, both of them cut off in the middle of the fight, right? Maybe it's because they stopped getting their hands in the right position. Yeah, that's what I like about those two, is the difference in weight. So turn your hands toward each other. Yes. And from here, I want you to practice with two hands. See, my hands are apart. If your hands are together, you create a pivot point, and when you strike, the force and the momentum, not the force, but the force and the momentum of your strike, force you to overturn. That creates a pivot point. You over-rotate, and if your sword comes like that, and it should be here, and the reason it's here is always to fight. Yeah, what a great movie. And then you know that movie, Magnificent Seven, the cowboy movie. A lot of the spaghetti westerns, they were all based on those Kurosawa movies too. Seven Samurai, Few Good Men, or not A Few Good Men, Hang 'em High, Dirty Dozen, A Few Dollars More, Fistful of Dollars. All those are based on those old Kurosawa films with Toshiro Mifune. And yeah, 40, exactly. All those movies. That's that one with the guy, the John Wick dude, right? So from here, you want to get these in. And to get them in, you twist the hands together. Get those in line. This is going to be harder, but learn how to do it the right way. Yeah, Keanu Reeves, thank you. Do it the right way and do it the hard way. Learn and grow. Get out of your comfort zone. If it's too easy, you're not going to grow. It's not going to be right. Exactly. Thank you. So get them here, and I want you to practice the first slice, the first strike, and it's just straight down the middle. Now it's going to come from, oh, cool. Yeah, from here, slicing, straight down this way. Yeah, I think someone like Keanu Reeves, he earned a spot in Star Wars for sure. From here to here, just slicing. Sometimes they earn it more than some of the guys that they cast in that. And this has nothing to do with the sword. But what was up with that Jar Jar Binks guy? From here. And some people love Jar Jar Binks. I never understood that. From here to here, just straight in. He talked like he came off a plantation or something. It was weird. But I think that George Lucas was a weird guy. No offense. I said the wrong thing. He's probably listening. I've had no problem making these videos up to now. Now I'm going to be banned for sure. All right, don't talk about Zuckerberg. Don't talk about Lucas. Don't talk about the top dudes, right? All right, they have too much power these days. So you're here. You have this slice, and then I want you to think of the angle. And I'm totally joking. I'm not being serious. From here, you're going to come right down the middle, and then, yeah, and he was, it was a cool character. Maybe it was just the translation. From here, and then here, and then here. And down the middle, to the side, and to the side. 1, 2, 3. And I want you to practice that. This is very traditional, and this is teaching you how to fight with these angles. Now, when you strike, finish it in front of your body. Don't strike and drop. If you strike and drop, you see it's gone. Take your head off, right? If you strike, you hit, and then you're always fighting behind the guard, and then they come back in, and you're defended behind your own sword. Fight from behind the sword. Good. I just read what you said, yeah. Yeah, why? Why did they do that? It makes no sense. So from here, 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 and then go to the ribs, and then another angle to the knees, Now I said don't go low, but that means don't drop it and leave it low. So when you go to the knees, pop it back up fast, knees, and then come through the middle and through the other side. Work on these vertical strikes, pulling with the left hand, The right hand is just guiding the strike, keeping it straight and guiding the strike. So 2 horizontal strikes. So you have middle, forehead, ribs, knees, and then around the other way. Horizontal. Practice those. I didn't even count those. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And even here, make sure you've got your hands turned in and you have those. Yeah. Have you guys seen the new Mandalorian? We watched the first season. We haven't seen the next season yet. I think it just started. But the Mandalorian stuff's pretty good. I like that stuff. And then they're talking about all these new characters having their own show. Talking about Mace Windu's show, right? He didn't really die. He got his arms chopped off, flew out the window, but he's a Jedi. So he landed somewhere. They put the robot arms on him, and he's out there undercover building the new resistance or something. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, I can't wait. Purple lightsaber. The one that I have charging right now, I gotta flip the charger in a minute. The double-bladed lightsaber, because I'm gonna show how to fight with 2 lightsabers, how to do the whole Ahsoka Tano, come through and slice back through, and then block and strike with one hand and the other hand, and then put them together. And then I'm gonna show you the Darth Maul, Ray Park, how to fight like with a 2-bladed lightsaber or a light staff. I have a light staff too. What was that movie that had the Chinese actor, Kung Fu master, Kung Fu guy? He beats them all up with a staff, all the stormtroopers. I always forget that one. That was a cool episode. It's like, it happens like that. And it's like Donnie Yen. It's Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen comes out, he's got a staff, and then, and he's fighting. And the Daisy Ridley, who played Rogue One. Thank you. I always forget Rogue One. And then later, Daisy Ridley, she's carrying the staff, and then the last Star Wars movie, which was just so confusing. Not confusing because there was so much cool stuff going on. I think it was like this, it was disconnected. Because there's a whole scene where she's fighting on the ship that's half in the water, and then, she's trying to get the cube or whatever the cube was, and there's a scene, and you see the guy, like guy or girl, somebody snaps out the double-bladed lightsaber, and we think it's going to be a really cool fight, and she chops once, and then they disappear. And I'm still thinking, what was that? I would have liked to seen that fight with double-bladed lightsaber. Oh, good. Yeah, I got to be honest, I don't get into the storyline that much. I just want to see the action. That's how I am. Every once in a while you get a cool line from somebody, like the old John Wayne movies. I love the John Wayne movies because he would walk up and it'd say, they'd say to him, what was that movie? Hondo, one of my favorite movies, Hondo. And he says to the boy, he goes over to pet the dog, and he's going to pet the dog. He says, son, I wouldn't pet that dog if I were you. He tells him twice. Third time he lets him get bit or whatever. And the mother says, oh my gosh, why'd you let that happen? If you knew he was going to bite, hit. And he said, sometimes you got to learn the hard way, or something like that. Sometimes people can't be told, and it's like those short things. Other than that, I don't need a storyline at all, right? Like the newest Rambo movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like an hour and a half of 100-year-old Sylvester Stallone running around the jungle somewhere doing a whole bunch of stuff to a whole bunch of people. And I don't think there's any story. There's certainly not any dialogue in that movie. Anyway, I digress because I wanted to show you the Obi-Wan Kenobi Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Ani spin, the one that everybody seems to look for. And I spent a long time getting really comfortable with this one because it is basically an orbital behind your back, and then you drop it, and the key is here to, yeah, dog. and the degenerate father who's not taking care of his family, his father, the son, who's trying to make some money, and he's not a good dad, and he's in the way of the dog, and the little corporal already marched into the tent so that the colonel can get some rest or whatever, or the lieutenant, I forget, something like that. And because John Wayne said, you know, have you heard from C Troop? And he said, you're not going to hear from C Troop. They're not coming back. And then he said, sir, I'd like you to leave. And then the little guy, anyway. And then the dog's, and then the guy pulls out his gun. He's going to shoot the dog. This is a movie. This is not real. And he says, mister, walk around the dog. John Wayne does. Something like that. Thank you. Because I get all excited thinking about John Wayne. And the man says, I don't walk around any cur dog or something like that. And he says, a man ought to do what he thinks he ought to do, which is code for you better rethink what you're thinking about doing, because it's not going to go the way that you think it is. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we can talk about parry. Let's do the Obi-Ani and we'll talk about the parry, because that's a really good point. I've got a solution for you. Yeah. Yeah, we've all seen the same movies. All right, so we're going here. We're behind the back. Behind the back. And I just want you to get comfortable here. And then when you're ready, think about this figure eight, right? And see how my thumb turns down? But instead of turning it down in front of your body, turn it down behind your back. That's the key to the Obi-Ani. That's where almost everybody that I work with gets stuck. From here, you go down, but instead of the front of the body, you go to the back, and you turn the blade just straight up. Now, I know this isn't for you guys watching. This is for all of the Basement Warrior critique people who are going to come in and make a comment in the comment section later. They're going to watch this a year from now, and they're going to say, if you really did that, you would have killed yourself because it's a lightsaber. I know that. This is for the movies. This isn't for real. This is for you to learn how to do the thing that you're passionate about. Go out there and do some stuff. And when somebody criticizes you, say, hey, at least I'm doing it. You're just standing there watching. It's going straight up in the air. Now, the next part is also where everybody gets stuck. They try to pull the hand out from behind the back. But don't think of your hand. Think of your elbow. Pull the elbow to the front of the body, and when you do that, it's going to be facing the ground. Go back here. Don't think of your hand. Pull your elbow. Because if you think of pulling your elbow, your hand has to do what it has to do. It's going to do what it's supposed to do naturally. There's nothing else that it can do. It cannot do the wrong thing. Well, because you got the Force. The Force protects you. That's why. All right. So it's behind you. And the shield, you're right. See this here? Now, all that's left is to turn your thumb back to the sky and down and do the orbital again. And that's the whole move. And I know it doesn't make sense yet, but I'm going to show you in a second. You're going to go from here down, straight up in the air. Elbow, thumb to the sky, and back into the orbital. Orbital, thumb to the ground, up behind your back. Pull the elbow, the thumb, and this comes from, this is sword fighting. This comes from traditional sword fighting too. You would deflect, and then you would come in and you would strike, which is why it's not, the Star Wars guys didn't make this up. This is a deflecting strike and then a fighting move. So you're here, you're spinning behind the back. When you're ready, point your thumb down, pull your thumb to the sky, make sure it's coming straight out of the middle of your head. This is not going to be good enough. And when I first started doing it, I would get it like this. And yes, that's the motion, but it doesn't look as cool. It's not as correct. It's not technically it's not Obi-Ani. Thank you. Emmett, I got your email. I'll respond when I get done with this about this weekend. The circle here, it has to come behind your back, go straight up like a tree growing out of the top of your head, or it's not Star Wars worthy. Pull it out, drop it behind the back, whip it out here. It is. It's fun to cross train with these lightsabers, and they're getting better and cheaper all the time. If you look at the link below, you'll see some really good stuff. Hank, you read too much. It's going straight up, elbow out, down. I don't know, maybe you teach at the War College. Pop it out, down, and see what I'm doing with my shoulders. This amount of turning will help you get there faster. It's hard though, because you're doing like 6 things at once. And I've done it for so long, I sometimes forget that it took me a while to get it behind the back, straight up. That's flexibility. To turn the whole body, and to turn the whole body, and to time it in a way that it looks good. It took me a while. So give yourself some grace. Allow yourself some time to do that. Once you get it with one hand, throw it in the other hand, bring it back. See, I'm gonna have to practice a little bit here. I can see what I mean? This you shouldn't do. See how close that is to the body? That's not a different move, but that's not the same move done with it coming right out of the top of your head. Yeah, I'm sweating like a dog over here. So I'm turning, whip it out, turn, and start to turn your upper body. You can't see it, but my hips are turning too. My feet are flat on the ground, but I'm pushing off in the balls of the feet. That's how you get faster. But don't overthink it. Get your orbital first. Get an orbital inside second. Learn the figure 8. Orbital inside, orbital outside. Put them together as a figure 8. And then learn to reverse it. Reverse the figure 8. Then go into the side of the body. Front and back. Figure 8. Front and back. Reverse figure 8. And then practice, and you can break it up. I like to break it up in the middle. I'll do, of course, but that's why you want to do both hands. Imagine if you're Luke Skywalker, just chopped your hand off, and then you use your force power. You get the let's turn it off, because when you chopped your hand off, it went off, and then he's looking at it. This force, like he's upside down in the cave with the Jar Jar Binks guy, the big white dude with the horns or something, and he's eating his. The second movie. What's it called? Anyway, and he pulls it in. Not the movie, the monster that's going to eat him. And then Han Solo saves him. And behind the back. Then what was it? At the end of the second movie is when he loses the hand, I think. And that's when he has to learn. If he knew how to fight with the other hand, it probably would have been over then, and we wouldn't have had a next movie. So they had to take him back and shoom. Was it the Tauntaun? That's it. Yeah, the Tauntaun. Thank you. And he was riding something. He was riding something else. And then the Tauntaun I thought he was riding, and then the big monster was the one that he's eating on. He's chewing them down. Still good movies. Those are great movies. All right. We went over the strikes, but parry, that's what we said. Hello, it's good to see you. Parrying, blocking, right? Most people make the mistake of pushing and reaching for the sword, if you're doing dueling with the lightsaber, they reach out too much, which is very slow, and it leaves the rest of your body open. So what you need to do, 2 things. Number 1 is make smaller moves as you parry. Make your body smaller, get from behind your body, from here, turn your body a little bit more to block and to parry. Now, if I just push my hands, I have arm strength. If I push my body, I have core body strength. Much bigger muscles. So you're gonna be stronger when you parry. Don't reach. If the strike's coming to this side of your head and you reach way out here and they know what they're doing, that could have been a feint or a fake, or they could just very quickly pop it and come straight in and you're done. So when you parry small. And don't reach for their attack. Make their attack come to you. If they're attacking correctly, they're trying to hit you the body. So as long as your sword is in front of the body, it's going to block it. What most people do, this is why. Because you're thinking sword to sword. You're trying to block his sword. Don't block his sword. Block the strike that's going to slice you somewhere in the middle of your body, which means that it's here. The same is true for martial arts with your hand. If someone's punching your face, your parry in boxing especially, parries are like this much, right? If you go out here, then your whole face is open. It's slow and it's going to smash you in the face. So when you parry with your sword, the second thing you're going to do, in addition to moving your body and keeping yourself behind your sword, you're going to always fight from behind the sword, is you're going to turn your wrist in the direction. And that turning is creating a spiraling motion, which is going to increase the power and the speed, in your ability to defend yourself with your parry or with your block. So turn and push, pushing. Think about aiming the knuckles in the direction of their attack. If you can do that, then you've created a spiral here. And even though this would really be, and I just lost my fingers, this would really be white hot light or something, right? Energy. Lightsaber. But it's not, it's plastic. And when you put on the costume and you want to do the cosplay, or you just want to learn how to duel for fun, for exercise, you can see how much I'm sweating, then you don't want to break this is 100 this one was 100. This was, because I had this one made with the bare minimum. By the way, if you ever get one of these, the Ultra Sabers one, go for this. This is just regular batteries and they last forever. When I got my first ones, I got everything. Cool. This is just for fun because it's a holiday break and I'm really close to a milestone with this channel. And I have about 50 other lightsaber videos. And it's actually probably one of the top things that people look for. But it's the last one that I do. And it's because it's like my passion is to teach you how to be able to defend yourself with a walking stick, with a cane, with a hiking stick, with a bow staff, with the collie sticks, with the nunchucks. And this is more for fun. Yeah, great scene. So from here, turning and blocking and staying behind your body. You start to do that in your parry. Oh, I know what I'm saying. If you do get the Ultra Sabers, don't get rechargeable batteries. Their rechargeable batteries are awful and they break and there's too much stuff in there. I like to do like practicing. I haven't done it in a while, so I have to take a look at it. But I like to practice like different tricks that force me to get out of my comfort zone. And when I do that, I drop it. And every once in a while you drop it. And then on the more expensive ones that I would get, they would always break inside. Yeah, like I said, I've been doing saber videos now for 5 or 6 years. I just don't do a lot of them, so you probably don't see them that much. But, it's good to see you back. But you can practice, move your foot. You can practice and then drop it, and then if you have the regular ones, they won't break. That was my point. But I put some options below, a little bit less expensive than this, and they are pretty, they're pretty solid. But if you really want to get into saber fighting or stunt, what they call stunt saber, which is using a lightsaber replica to fight, yeah, it's like everything else. Then, yes, have a great night. No, a Mace Windu passed me on. I already said that. I don't have that fancy demeanor. I don't have the fanciness of an Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's too British. Not that there's anything wrong with British, but yeah, exactly. More people should, which is funny. Purists are purists. And it's not even that. A lot of people are just intimidated by it. And I always like to, many martial arts, many. Karate, Taekwondo, a lot of, no, like I said, no offense. No offense means no offense. You can choose to be offended, but you shouldn't, because it's not, what do I know, honestly, right? It's just my own personal preference about, I like Mace Windu, because he's grizzled and he's rough. I just like grizzled and rough. That's what I resonate with. I grew up with Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I'm saying? All right, anyway. Practice your spins, your outer orbital, both forward and back. Practice the outer orbital to the inside, making the figure 8, and then reverse it. And then practice this one. Who was it? And then to the front. Oh, and all the Star Wars characters with like the big head, like the big long heads and stuff, because I know there's some of those samurai. I just don't get into that. That it looks too weird to me. Just my personal preference. The only one I don't mind is the Ahsoka Tano, because I watch the cartoon with my kids and I like her personality. And she doesn't mess with anything, right? She's just I don't know. So from here, figure 8 forward and back, and then I said you're going to go into your Obi-Ani or Obi-Ani, Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, going behind the back and then through. And then I want you to practice a bait, squeeze it like you're wringing out something. Thank you. It's good to see you. And then a straight down the middle strike, angle to the forehead, to the ribs, to the knees, always coming back to here, to the knees, always coming back, and then bring it over and through and over and through. Now, will you bring it back to your back every time in a fight? Absolutely not. But if you do it correctly like that, bringing it back every time, you're going to build strength, power in the shoulders, the whole body, and your strikes are going to be 1,000,000 times faster and stronger than if you just practice like this. Don't do that. You'll have power right here, but you won't have power here. So practice it strong like that. You mean like this? Slicing this way, slicing this way. By underarm, that's what I assume you mean. Yeah, those are all valid strikes, and they're all, those are all things that you should learn and you'll practice. We'll do all those. I just wanted you to get one today. Zentoichi, I love blind sword, Zatoichi. Yeah, we want to get started spinning out to in, a few tricks, and then if you really, really, really want to work with it, turn it here and out, and then let it switch hands. So you're going to turn it, throw it, catch it, bring it in, practice throwing it. And like I said, I drop mine all the time. You're going to drop yours. When you do, pick it up with your toes if you want to, but then do it again. Start making your figure 8 or your circle, the opposite way. And then that'll allow you to start going in and out, and then you throw it, catch it, and then you're on the other hand, and you can do some pretty cool stuff and break up your workouts, break up the monotony. I put some links below if you want to get your own lightsaber. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate that. And send me messages. Go to pasquinelli.com and reach out to me on the contact box. I'll see you guys in a little bit.